Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. The topic that we are going to read today is human health and disease. So, without wasting any time, let's get started. Chapter 8, Human Health and Disease. Health for a long time was considered as a state of body and mind where there was a balance of certain humors. That is what early Greeks like Hippocrates as well as Indian Ayurveda system of medicine asserted. It was thought that persons with black bile belonged to hot personality and would have fevers. This idea was arrived at by pure reflective thought. The discovery of blood circulation by William Harvey using experimental method and demonstration of normal body temperature in persons with black bile using thermometer disproved the good humor hypothesis of health. In later years, biology stated that mind influences through neural system and endocrine system, our immune system, and that our immune system maintains our health. Hence, mind and mental state can affect our health. Of course, health is affected by first genetic disorders, deficiency with which a child is born, and deficiency or defects which the child inherits from parents from birth. Second, infections. And third, lifestyle, including food and water we take, rest and exercise we give to our bodies, habits that we have or lack, etc. The term health is very frequently used by everybody. How do we define it? Health does not simply mean absence of disease or physical fitness. It could be defined as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well being. When people are healthy, they are more efficient at work. This increases productivity and brings economic prosperity. Health also increases longevity of people and reduces infant and maternal mortality. Balanced diet, personal hygiene, and regular exercise are very important to maintain good health. Yoga has been practiced since time immemorial to achieve physical and mental health. Awareness about diseases and their effect on different bodily functions, vaccination, that is, immunization against infectious diseases, proper disposal of waste, control of vectors, and maintenance of hygiene in food and water resources are necessary for achieving good health. When the functioning of one or more organs or system of the body is adversely affected, characterized by appearance of various signs and symptoms, we say that we are not healthy, that is, we have a disease. Diseases can be broadly grouped into infectious and non infectious. Diseases which are easily transmitted from one person to another are called infectious diseases. Infectious diseases are very common and every one of us suffer from these at some time or the other. Some of the infectious diseases like AIDS are fatal. Among non infectious diseases, cancer is the major cause of death. Drug and alcohol abuse also affect our health adversely. Common diseases in humans. A wide range of organisms belonging to bacteria, viruses, fungi, protozoans, helminths, etc. could cause diseases in man. Such disease causing organisms are called pathogens. Most parasites are therefore pathogen as they cause harm to the host by living in or on them. The pathogens can enter our body by various means, multiply, and interfere with normal vital activities, resulting in morphological and functional damage. Pathogens have to adapt to life within the environment of the host. For example, the pathogens that enter the gut must know a way of surviving in the stomach at low pH and resisting the various digestive enzymes. A few representative members from different groups of pathogenic organisms are discussed here, along with the diseases caused by them. Preventive and control measures against these diseases in general are also briefly described. Salmonella typhi is a pathogenic bacterium which causes typhoid fever in human beings. These pathogens generally enter the small intestine through food and water contaminated with them and migrate to other organs through blood. Sustained high fever from 39 degree to 40 degrees Celsius, weakness, stomach pain, constipation, headache, and loss of appetite are some of the common symptoms of this disease. Intestinal perforation and death may occur in severe cases. Typhoid fever could be confirmed by Vidal test. A classic case in medicine, that of Mary Mellon, nicknamed Typhoid Mary, is worth mentioning here. She was a cook by profession and was a typhoid carrier who continued to spread typhoid for several years through the food she prepared. Bacteria like Streptococcus pneumoniae and Haemophilus influenzae are responsible for the disease pneumonia in humans, which infects the alveoli, that is, air filled sacs of the lungs. As a result of the infection, the alveoli get filled with fluid, leading to severe problems in respiration. The symptoms of pneumonia include fever, chills, cough, and headache. In severe cases, the lips and fingernails may turn grey to bluish in color. A healthy person acquires the infection by inhaling the droplets or aerosols released by an infected person, or even by sharing glasses and utensils with an infected person. Dysentery, plague, diphtheria, etc. are some of the other bacterial diseases in man. Viruses also cause diseases in human beings. Rhinovirus represent one such group of virus which cause one of the most infectious human ailments, the common cold. They infect the nose and respiratory passage but not the lungs. The common cold is characterized by nasal congestion and discharge, sore throat, hoarseness, cough, headache, tiredness, etc., which usually last for 3 to 7 days. Droplets resulting from cough or sneezes of an infected person are either inhaled directly or transmitted through contaminated objects such as pens, books, cups, doorknobs, computer keyboard or mouse, etc., and cause infection in a healthy person. Some of the human diseases are caused by protozoan too. You might have heard about malaria, a disease man has been fighting since many years. Plasmodium, a tiny protozoan, is responsible for this disease. Different species of Plasmodium, Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium malaria, and Plasmodium falciparum, are responsible for different types of malaria. Of these, malignant malaria caused by Plasmodium falciparum is the most serious one and can even be fatal. Let us take a glance at the life cycle of Plasmodium. Plasmodium enters the human body as sporozoites, infectious form, through the bite of infected female Anopheles mosquito. The parasites initially multiply within the liver cells and then attack the red blood cells, resulting in their rupture. The rupture of RBC is associated with release of toxic substance hemozoin, which is responsible for the chill and high fever recurring every 3 to 4 days. When a female Anopheles mosquito bites an infected person, these parasites enter the mosquito's body and undergo further development. The parasites multiply within them to form sporozoites that are stored in their salivary glands. When these mosquitoes bite a human, the sporozoites are introduced into his or her body, thereby initiating the events mentioned above. It is interesting to note that the malarial parasite requires two hosts, human and mosquitoes. To complete its life cycle, the female Anopheles mosquito is the vector or the transmitting agent too. So you can see in the figure, how actually the life cycle of a mosquito is completed, that is with the mosquito bite. Okay, next. Entamoeba histolytica is a protozoan parasite in the large intestine of the human, which causes amoebiosis, that is, amoeboic dysentery. Symptoms of this disease could include constipation, abdominal pain and cramps, stools with excess mucus, and blood clots. Houseflies act as mechanical carriers and serve to transmit the parasite from feces of infected person to food and food products, thereby contaminating them. Drinking water and food contaminated by fecal matter are the main source of infection. Ascaris, the common roundworm, and Vichoria, the filarial worm, are some of the helminths which are known to be pathogenic to man. Ascaris, an intestinal parasite, causes ascariasis. Symptoms of these disease include internal bleeding, muscular pain, fever, anemia, and blockage of intestinal passage. The eggs of the parasite are excreted along with the feces of infected persons, which contaminate soil, water, plants, etc. A healthy person acquires this infection through contaminated water, vegetables, fruits, etc. Vichoria, W. bancrofti, and Vichoria malai, the filarial worms cause a slowly developing chronic inflammation of the organs in which they live for many years, usually the lymphatic vessels of the lower limbs, and the disease is called elephantiasis or filariasis. The genital organs are also often affected, resulting in the gross deformities. The pathogens are transmitted to a healthy person through the bite by the female mosquito vectors. Many fungi belonging to the genera Microsporum, Trichophyton, and Epidermophyton are responsible for ringworms, which is one of the most common infectious disease in man. Appearance of dry scaly lesions on various parts of the body such as skin, nails and scalp are the main symptoms of the disease. These lesions are accompanied by intense itching. Heat and moisture help these fungi to grow, which makes them thrive in skin folds such as those in the groin or between the toes. Ringworms are generally acquired from soil or by using towels, clothes, or even the comb of infected individuals. Maintenance of personal and public hygiene is very important for prevention and control of many infectious diseases. Measures for personal hygiene include keeping the body clean, consumption of clean drinking water, food, vegetables, fruits, etc. Public hygiene includes proper disposal of waste and excreta, periodic cleaning and disinfection of water reservoirs, pools, cesspools, and tanks, and observing standard practices of hygiene in public catering. These measures are particularly essential where the infectious agents are transmitted through food and water, such as typhoid, amoebiosis, and ascariasis. In case of airborne diseases such as pneumonia and common cold, in addition to the above measures, close contact with the infected person or their belongings should be avoided. For disease such as malaria and filariasis that are transmitted through insect vectors, the most important measure is to control or eliminate the vectors and their breeding places. This can be achieved by avoiding stagnation of water in and around residential areas, regular cleaning of household coolers, use of mosquito nets, introducing fishes like gambusia in ponds that feed on mosquito larvae, spraying of insecticides in ditches, drainage areas, and swamps, etc. In addition, doors and windows should be provided with wire mesh to prevent the entry of mosquitoes. Such precautions have become more important, especially in the light of recent widespread incidences of the vector borne Aedes mosquitoes, diseases like dengue and chikungunya in many parts of India. The advancements made in biological science have armed us to effectively deal with many infectious diseases. The use of vaccine and immunization programs have enabled us to completely eradicate a deadly disease like smallpox. A large number of other infectious diseases like polio, diphtheria, pneumonia, and tetanus have been controlled to a large extent by the use of vaccines. Biotechnology, about which you will read more in chapter 12, is at the verge of making available newer and safer vaccines. Discovery of antibiotics and various other drugs has also enabled us to effectively treat infectious diseases. Immunity. Every day we are exposed to a large number of infectious agents. However, only a few of these exposures result in disease. Why? This is due to the fact that the body is able to defend itself from most of these foreign agents. This overall ability of the host to fight the disease causing organisms conferred by the immune system is called immunity. Immunity is of two types: innate immunity and acquired immunity. Innate immunity is a non specific type of defense that is present at the time of birth. This is accomplished by providing different types of barriers to the entry of the foreign agents into our body. Innate immunity consists of four types of barriers. These are: first, physical barriers. Skin on our body is the main barrier which prevents entry of the microorganism. Mucous coating of the epithelium lining the respiratory, gastrointestinal, and urogenital tract also help in trapping microbes entering our body. Second, physiological barriers. Acid in the stomach, saliva in the mouth, tears from eyes all prevent microbial growth. Third, cellular barriers. Certain types of leukocytes, WBCs of our body, like polymorphonuclear leukocytes, PMNL neutrophils, and monocytes and natural killer type of lymphocytes in the blood, as well as macrophages in tissue, can phagocytose and destroy microbes. Fourth, cytokine barriers. Virus infected cells secrete proteins called interferons, which protect non infected cells from further viral infection. Acquired immunity. Acquired immunity, on the other hand, is pathogen specific. It is characterized by memory. This means when our body encounters a pathogen for the first time, it produces a response called primary response, which is of low intensity. Subsequent encounter with the same pathogen elicits a highly intensified secondary or anamnestic response. This is ascribed to the fact that our body appears to have memory of the first encounter. The primary and the secondary immune responses are carried out with the help of two special types of lymphocytes present in our blood, that is, B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. The B lymphocyte produce an army of proteins in response to pathogen into our blood to fight with them. These proteins are called antibodies. The T cells themselves do not secrete antibodies but help B cells to produce them. Each antibody molecule has four peptide chains, two small called light chains and two longer called heavy chains. Hence, an antibody is represented as H2L2. Different types of antibody are produced in our body. IgA, IgM, IgE, IgG are some of them. A cartoon of an antibody is given in figure. Because these antibodies are found in the blood, the response is also called as humoral immune response. This is one of the two types of our acquired immune response, antibody mediated. The second type is called cell mediated immune response or cell mediated immunity. The T lymphocytes mediate CMI. Very often, when some human organ like heart, eye, liver, kidney fail to function satisfactorily, transplantation is the only remedy to enable the patient to live a normal life. Search begins to find a suitable donor. Why is it that the organs cannot be taken from just anybody? What is it that the doctors check? Grafts from just any source. An animal, another primate, or any human being cannot be made since the grafts would be rejected sooner or later. Tissue matching, blood group matching are essential before undertaking any graft or transplant. And even after this, the patient has to take immunosuppressants all his life or her life. The body is able to differentiate self and non self, and the cell mediated immune response is responsible for the graft rejection. Active and passive immunity. When a host is exposed to antigens, which may be in the form of living or dead microbes or other proteins, antibodies are produced in the host body. This type of immunity is called active immunity. Active immunity is slow and takes time to give its full effective response. Injecting the microbes deliberately during immunization or infectious organisms gaining access into body during natural infection induce active immunity. When ready-made antibodies are directly given to protect the body against foreign agents, it is called passive immunity. Do you know why mother's milk is considered very essential for the newborn infant? The yellowish fluid colostrum secreted by the mother during the initial days of lactation has abundant antibodies IgA to protect the infant. The fetus also receives some antibodies from their mother through the placenta during pregnancy. These are some examples of passive immunity. Vaccination and immunization. The principle of immunization or vaccination is based on the property of memory or the immune system of the immune system. In vaccination, a preparation of antigenic proteins of pathogen or inactivated or weakened pathogen vaccine are introduced into the body. The antibodies produced in the body against these antigens would neutralize the pathogenic agents during actual infection. The vaccines also generate memory B and T cells that recognize the pathogen quickly on subsequent exposure and overwhelm the invaders with a massive production of antibodies. If a person is infected with some deadly microbes to which quick immune response is required, as in tetanus, we need to directly inject the performed antibodies or antitoxin, a preparation containing antibodies to the toxin. Even in cases of snake bites, the injection which is given to the patients contain performed antibodies against the snake venom. This type of immunization is called passive immunization. Recombinant DNA technology has allowed the production of antigenic polypeptides of pathogen in bacteria or yeast. Vaccines produced using this approach allow large scale production and hence greater availability for immunization. Example, hepatitis B vaccine produced from yeast. Allergies. When you have gone to a new place and suddenly you started sneezing, wheezing for no explained reason, and when you went away, your symptoms disappeared. Did this happen to you? Some of us are sensitive to some particles in the environment. The above mentioned reaction could be because of allergy to pollen, mites, etc., which are different in different places. The exaggerated response of the immune system to certain antigens present in the environment is called allergy. The substance to which such an immune response is produced are called allergens. The antibody produced to these are of IgE type. Common examples of allergens are mites in dust, pollens, animal dander, etc. Symptoms of allergic reactions including sneezing, watery eyes, running nose, and difficulty in breathing. Allergy is due to the release of chemicals like histamine and serotonin from the mast cells. For determining the cause of allergy, the patient is exposed to or injected with very small doses of possible allergens and the reaction studied. The use of drugs like antihistamine, adrenaline, and steroids quickly reduce the symptoms of allergy. Somehow, modern day lifestyle has resulted in lowering of immunity and more sensitivity to allergens. More and more children in metro cities of India suffer from allergies and asthma due to sensitivity to the environment. This could be because of the protected environment provided early in life. Autoimmunity. Memory based acquired immunity evolved in higher vertebrates based on the ability to differentiate foreign organisms, example pathogens, from self cells. While we still do not understand the basis of this, two corollaries of this ability have to be understood. One, higher vertebrates can distinguish foreign molecules as well as foreign organisms. Most of the experimental immunology deals with this aspect. Two, sometimes due to genetic and other unknown reason, the body attacks self cells. This results in damage to the body and is called autoimmune disease. Rheumatoid arthritis, which affect many people in our society, is an autoimmune disease. Immune system in the body. The human immune system consists of lymphoid organs, tissues, cells, and soluble molecules like antibodies. As you have read, immune system is unique in the sense that it recognizes foreign antigens, responds to these and remembers them. The immune system also plays an important role in allergic reactions, autoimmune diseases, and organ transplantation. Lymphoid organs. These are the organs where origin and or maturation and proliferation of lymphocytes occur. The primary lymphoid organs are bone marrow and thymus, where immature lymphocytes differentiate into antigen sensitive lymphocytes. After maturation, the lymphocytes migrate to the secondary lymphoid organs like spleen, lymph nodes, tonsils, Peyer's patches of small intestine, and appendix. The secondary lymphoid organs provides the site for interaction of lymphocytes with the antigen, which then proliferate to become effector cells. The location of various lymphoid organs in the human body is shown in the figure. The bone marrow is the main lymphoid organ where all blood cells, including lymphocytes, are produced. The thymus is a lobed organ located near the heart and beneath the breastbone. The thymus is quite large at the time of birth but keeps reducing in size with age, and by the time puberty is attained, it reduces to a very small size. Both bone marrow and thymus provide microenvironments for the development and maturation of T lymphocytes. The spleen is a large bean shaped organ. It mainly contains lymphocytes and phagocytes. It acts as a filter of the blood by trapping blood borne microorganisms. Spleen also has a large reservoir of erythrocytes. The lymph nodes are small, solid structures located at different points along the lymphatic system. Lymph nodes serve to trap the microorganism or other antigens, which happen to get into the lymph and tissue fluid. Antigens trapped in the lymph nodes are responsible for the activation of lymphocytes present there and cause the immune response. There is lymphoid tissue also located within the lining of the major tracts, respiratory, digestive, and urogenital tracts, called mucosa associated lymphoid tissue, MALT. It constitutes about 50% of the lymphoid tissue in the human body. AIDS. The word AIDS stands for Acquired Immunodeficiency Syndrome. This means deficiency of immune system acquired during the lifetime of an individual, indicating that it is not a congenital disease. Syndrome means a group of symptoms. AIDS was first reported in 1981, and in the last 25 years or so, it has spread all over the world, killing more than 25 million people. AIDS is caused by the human immunodeficiency virus HIV, a member of a group of viruses called retrovirus, which have an envelope enclosing the RNA genome. Transmission of HIV infection generally occurs by A. Sexual contact with infected person, B. By transfusion of contaminated blood and blood products, C. By sharing infected needles, as in the case of intravenous drug abusers, and D. From infected mother to her child through placenta. So, people who are at high risk of getting this infection includes individuals who have multiple sexual partners, drug addicts who take drug intravenously, individuals who require repeated blood transfusions, and children born to an HIV infected mother. Do you know when do people need repeated blood transfusion? Find out and make a list of such conditions. It is important to note that HIV or AIDS is not spread by mere touch or physical contact. It spreads only through body fluids. It is hence imperative for the physical and psychological well being that the HIV or AIDS infected persons are not isolated from family and society. There is always a time lag between the infection and appearance of AIDS symptoms. This period may vary from a few months to many years, usually 5 to 10 years. After getting into the body of the person, the virus enters into macrophages where RNA genome of the virus replicates to form viral DNA with the help of the enzyme reverse transcriptase. The viral DNA gets incorporated into host cell's DNA and directs the infected cells to produce virus particles. The macrophages continue to produce virus and in this way acts like a HIV factory. Simultaneously, HIV enters into helper T lymphocytes, TH, replicates and produce progeny viruses. The progeny viruses released in the blood attack other helper T lymphocytes. This is repeated, leading to a progressive decrease in the number of helper T lymphocytes in the body of the infected person. During this period, the person suffers from bouts of fever, diarrhea, and weight loss. Due to decrease in the number of helper T lymphocyte, the person starts suffering from infections that could have been otherwise overcome, such as those due to bacteria, especially mycobacterium, viruses, fungi, and even parasites like toxoplasma. The patient becomes so immunodeficient that he or she is unable to protect himself or herself against these infections. A widely used diagnostic test for AIDS is enzyme linked immunosorbent assay, ELISA. Treatment of AIDS with antiretroviral drug is only partially effective. They can only prolong the life of the patient but cannot prevent death, which is inevitable. Prevention of AIDS. As AIDS has no cure, prevention is the best option. Moreover, HIV infection more often spreads due to conscious behavior patterns and is not something that happens inadvertently, like pneumonia or typhoid. Of course, infection in blood transfusion patients, newborns from mother, etc., may take place due to poor monitoring. The only excuse may be ignorance, and it has been rightly said, don't die of ignorance. In our country, the National AIDS Control Organization NACO and other non-governmental organization NGOs are doing a lot to educate people about AIDS. WHO has started a number of programs to prevent the spreading of HIV infection, making blood from blood banks safe from HIV, ensuring the use of only disposable needles and syringes in public and private hospitals and clinics, free distribution of condoms, controlling drug abuse, advocating safe sex, and promoting regular checkups for HIV in susceptible population are some such steps taken up. Infections with HIV or having AIDS is something that should not be hidden, since then the infection may spread to many more people. HIV or AIDS infected people need help and sympathy instead of being shunned by society. Unless society recognizes it as a problem to be dealt with in a collective manner, the chances of wider spread of the disease increase manifold. It is a malady that can only be tackled by the society and medical fraternity acting together to prevent the spread of the disease. So, here we complete the first part of the chapter Human Health and Disease. In the next class, we will start with cancer. We will also cover drug and alcohol abuse. So, if you like the video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and till then, keep studying. Bye bye.